What is up, my fellow viewers? AT from the AT Show here, coming at you at 3 a.m. with a story video. Yeah, this is going to be my first story video. I'm thinking of doing videos like these in the future, so tell me if you like them, because I might actually do more. Anyways, this story takes place a couple years ago back at my old high school when I was just a freshman. Now, my high school is very small. It's not typically like other high schools, like with a bunch of other students. We really had about like 1,000 students here. So like the smallest of activity could become the new headline of the social news with us. Like for example, someone vaping could be like the headline of the month, I guess. Now, this took place on a Wednesday because I remember being all pissy about how it was midweekend. It was so far away from the weekend, and I was in my final class of the day, or at least during that day, which was Spanish. Now, I have often made fun of my Spanish class to my different friends because of how dysfunctional it was at the time, because there were a lot of different characters and personalities in there that did not mix at all. Now, I was a quiet nerd who sat in the back quietly, so I was not really involved in the social circle of the class. Now, the special little snowflake that had the balls to fucking do this, no pun intended by the way with balls, was a football player who really did not care about much because, you know, student athlete and everything. And you know what, okay, let's just call him Jimmy. So Jimmy, I guess, was having a bad day in general because I noticed the moment he entered that class, he had a little extra bit of I don't care that day attitude. He's a very carefree person, but he was extra I don't care that day. And to be honest, I think the Spanish teacher I had was a little bit grumpy that day too, more than normal. I mean, she's a pretty calm person at times. It's just that today, I don't know what happened, but today is just an extra grumpy day for both of them. You know, let's just call her Miss Spanish. So that specific day in Spanish, I guess we were doing a speech review where we had to stand in front of the class and like say a couple Spanish words, which is like very fucking basic words. Because the Spanish class I was in was like a beginner Spanish. It was kind of required for everybody who had no prior experience with Spanish. And so Mrs. Spanish gave us around 5 minutes of prep time to come up with sentences with those specific words in the sentences, and I was able to come up with the sentences easily because they were not very hard words to really get down. They were words like el agua, basic Spanish words. The 5 minutes eventually end up passing by, and my Spanish teacher chooses to pick Jimmy first because, let's be honest, I mean, my Spanish teacher it wasn't really apparent that she had anything against student athletes, but it was kind of there. Plus, there was already tension between her and Jimmy prior to this class meeting. So I guess Jimmy did not prepare any sentences in time because he wasn't working, probably socializing, or he just could not. I don't know. Student athletes are kind of mysterious in that way. So this ended up completely triggering him, and he started to speak loudly towards Mrs. Spanish, which eventually caused her to start yelling back, which caused him to start yelling towards her. And I gotta admit, guys, some dabalicious roasts were being exchanged back and forth. Wait, did I really just say dabalicious? Oh, whatever, I get the 2018 pass. So anyway, me being my ninth grade self and not experiencing that much action, like drama and stuff, way early in that game caused me to fill up with a bunch of adrenaline. And eventually Mrs. Spanish had enough of this and decided to actually call the front office because the school I went to was kind of small and like teachers don't really, I guess, don't take that much because not really that much goes on. And so anyway, I think it was actually just a couple like cuss words that kind of got her to the point where she had to call the office. Anyway, I'm on like the edge of my seat because this is like the most drama I've seen in being a freshman and like at all. Anyway, as Mrs. Spanish was talking on the phone, I hear this one kid next to me like whisper OMG because I can barely hear, but I can pick it up. And immediately, like when OMG was said, I knew Jimmy did something not good. So I quickly looked next to find Jimmy's pants completely fucking down, with his underwear being at like knee level. So yes, this kid literally just fucking mooned the teacher because he got called on first before everybody else. Keep in mind, guys, that Jimmy sat in the very back, like next to me, so the Mrs. Spanish couldn't really see it or really hear what's going on. And yeah, keep in mind also that During the phone call, she was looking at the wall, which was basically the exact opposite direction of when when Jimmy was like mooning her and stuff. So she never actually ended up seeing the full extent of the moon, but little ninth grade me ended up seeing every part of it. And yeah, that's how I became traumatized by my Spanish class. And that's why I'm never taking any more language classes ever again. I'm just fucking joking, but anyway. Mrs. Spanish turned around after Jimmy eventually put up his pants up. Right after, I swear to God, I don't know what would have happened if she actually like saw him mooning her. So, besides that, the phone call never actually escalated into anything interesting or video worthy. And yeah, the day continued as normal. Jimmy gave a terrible presentation because he had no sentences and really didn't know how to say any of the words. And so yeah, just everything was normal. Alright, but if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, and I will try to do more stories if you guys like them. This is like my first time trying to tell a story to you guys, so I'm a little not skillful at this. Just tell me how I can improve, I guess. Twitter, Instagram, and links in the description below. And I made a Snapchat if you guys want to go check that out. I'll probably have the name in the description. I probably won't, but whatever. Anyway, leave a like, subscribe for more. I'll probably try to do this in the future if I get good support with this. And yeah, I'll see you next time.